service, maybe Cain, on the other hand, was a bit half-hearted. He's maybe holding something back from the Lord, and that could possibly be the case. But I think the issue is deeper than this. I think the issue goes a lot deeper than this. I appeal to 1 John chapter 3 because it's in 1 John chapter 3 that we discover more that helps us understand what's really going on here. 1 John chapter 3, for this is the message you have heard from the beginning. We should love one another. Do not be like Cain, who belonged to the evil one and murdered his brother. And why did he murder him? Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. Because his own actions were evil and his brothers were righteous. That's revealing, isn't it, of what's going on inside Cain's heart. John Calvin, in his commentary on Genesis, likens Cain to the religious hypocrite. John Calvin writes of Cain that Cain is portrayed to us in the likeness of a wicked man, who yet desires to be esteemed just. Such a person truly, by external works, strenuously labored to deserve well at the hands of God. But retaining a heart enwrapped in deceit, they present to him nothing but a mask, so that their laborious and anxious religious worship there is nothing sincere, nothing but mere pretense. When they afterwards see that they gain no advantage, they betray the venom of their minds, for they not only complain against God, but break forth and manifest fury, so that, if they were able, they would gladly tear him down from his heavenly throne. And when this is denied, they burn with furious indignation, which, though conceived against God, they cast forth upon God's children. You know, what's the issue with Cain? What's the problem with his sacrifice? I side with Calvin in 1 John chapter 3. Cain is a religious hypocrite. Cain is moving through the motions of a religious experience. Cain is present and he's accounted for, but his heart is as cold and far from God as it possibly could. The Lord looked with favor on Abel and his offering, but on Cain and his offering he did not look with favor. Why? Again, to echo the words of the psalmist in Psalm 51, King David, the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart. These, O God, you will not despise. You know, that's my suggestion to you. This is present in Abel's approach, but this is absent from Cain's. And Cain, we learn, when called out on this, he then becomes very angry. His face is downcast. But instead of, and I found this interesting, that instead of, he's been called out at this point, God has called him out, but instead of exercising humility, instead of going away and thinking through this a little bit, a period of self-reflection, of taking responsibility for what he's done, thinking about how could things have gone differently if I had done this differently, self-reflection, Cain instead, pride is an obvious issue in Cain's life. He now becomes angry. I appreciated Jordan Peterson, the Canadian psychologist. He writes about this, and he makes the comment that Cain enters into creative union with the spirit of sin and renders himself murderously vengeful. He does so instead of changing, instead of undergoing a transformative metanoia, instead of confessing and repenting and determining to do better, even when called out by God himself. Now,